Good day, everyone. Today I will be discussing the philosophical movements in education. So, first up is the Renaissance. It is delivered from the Latin word renascere, meaning to be born again. It is considered as the revival of ancient learning brought about by the discovery of the New World of Christopher Columbus, the fascinating of Marco Polo about the wealth and technology of the East, the invention of the printing press, and the other events during the latter part of the medieval period. So, ito yung mga printing press na nauso ang mga newspaper kung saan nakikita na lamang ang mga news o ang mga balita sa isang bayan na nakasulat o nakaprint. At ang Columbus Reaches New World naman ay na-discover ni Columbus ang Amerika. So, under Renaissance, there are four philosophies. The first one is humanism. It was one of the various philosophies that flourished during the Renaissance period. It is the philosophy which holds the idea that educations aim to liberate man from the oppressive and demanding medieval institution like the church and the state, so as to enable him to fully develop his potential. So, ang humanism daw ay ginawa upang palayain ang isang tao o ang mga tao sa isang mapang-api at demanding na medieval institution tulad ng isang simbahan at ng isang estado o ng isang lipunan upang mas lalo pang ma-develop ang kanyang potential. So the next one is Reformation. It was caused by the massive corruption in the Roman Catholic Church and the sale of indulgences. The movement highlighted the protests of the people who were devastated by the policies of the Roman Catholic Church. So ito naman ay isang protesta na kung saan pinapakita ang mas lalo pang pagpapahirap sa mga taong nakaranas ng policy o maling pamamalakad ng Roman Catholic Church. The father of Reformation is Martin Luther, who was born in 1483 and died in 1549. He wrote the 95 Theses denouncing the Catholic Church and posted it in the doorpost of his cathedral in Wittenberg on October 31, 1517. Philip Melanchthon, educational reformer, he published a report or Book of Visitation, which is considered as the first educational survey in history. So the Book of Visitation is an event that is considered to be a message or a punishment from God. John Melanchthon, who was born in 1608 to 1674. He believed that boys should study formal grammar and formal education must be emphasized. He advocated the use of resource person. So a resource person is someone or refers to a person either representing a person or an institution that provides information or knowing clearly about an information or being a source of information for the benefits of reporting in the media mass. Francis Rabelais, born in 1483 to 1553, suggested that education should be made attractive rather than compulsive. All learning should be made pleasant. Education should be gained through books. So, lahat daw ng pinag-aaralan dapat natin ay nanggagaling sa books at hindi sa ibang learning materials. Michael de Montaigne, born in 1533 to 1592. He emphasized the use of field trips or educational tours in the teaching learning process. He also introduced the concept of finishing school. So, in-introduce niya ang field trips and educational tours for the students to have or engage in different environment while learning. John Amos Comenius, born in 1592 to 1670. He wrote Orbis Pictus Sensualism, of the world of sensible things, picture, which is considered as the first textbook on the use of visual aids in classroom teaching. He organized his school system from preschool to the university. He also advocated the following. Number one is older children should stay longer in school and younger ones should stay in school only for a short period of a day. Number two is morning hours should be devoted to for intellectual subjects, while subject for physical and aesthetic development should be given in the afternoon. Number 3, the level of teaching should be suited to the understanding of the children. So, siya ang nagpauso ng mga textbook and other visual aids o mga IMs in a classroom teaching. So, sinabi niya rin na dapat ang mga matatandang bata ay mas nag-stay sa school ng mas mahaba ang oras kaysa sa mga mas bata. Next one is Richard Mulcaster. Born in 1531 to 1611, he argued that education should be in accordance with mature of the child, and its aim is to secure the expression and development of childish tendencies and not to suppress them. He required to obtain university training like lawyers, minister, etc. Next one is John Dewey, 1856 to 1952. He believed that education must be democratic. The aim of education is social efficiency, utilization rather than subordination for the capacity of the individual. So, ang mga estudyante daw ay may karapatang mamili. So, sinasabi niyang democratic. Public schools is the chief means to achieve the above-mentioned purpose of education. Education is life and not just a preparation of life. Yan ay ang paniniwala ni John Dewey. He postulated the famous learning by doing dictum, which states that the learner learns best if he is an active participant in the teaching-learning process. Mas lalong natututo ang isang estudyante kung kasali siya o siya ang mismong gumagawa ng isang aktibidad sa kanyang pagkatuto. The next philosophy is the naturalism. It's an educational philosophy which adheres to the belief that education should be in accordance with the nature of the child. All educational practices should be focused towards the natural development of all the innate talents and abilities of the child. The outstanding personality involved in naturalism in education was Jean-Jacques Rousseau, 1712 to 1778, who wrote several books on policies and education like The Social Contract, Emily, etc. Emily is considered as the gospel of the child's educational freedom. Rousseau believed that man at birth is naturally good. Societal influences make an evil, and that the stronger the body, the more it obeys. The weaker the body, the more it commands. So, according naman kay Rousseau, ang mga tao ay naturally born na magagaling na. Pero dahil sa influence ng society, minsan nagiging masama sila. O dahil sa influence ng mga tao nakapaligid sa kanila ay nagiging masama sila. So, sabi niya nga, stronger the body, the more it obeys. At the weaker the body, the more it commands. At inihalin tulad naman ni John Locke ang isang tao sa isang blank na tablet na kung saan ang mga karanasan o ang mga mararanasan ng isang tao ang siyang magsusulat ng kung ano ang magiging kahihinatnan na pag-uugali ng isang tao. Based on the tenets of this movement, education is looked upon as the process geared toward the propagation, perpetualization, and amelioration of the society and the total development of an individual. Now, let's move on to the legal basis of Philippine education system. The provision of the 1987 Constitution, Section 1, Article 14 of the 1987 Constitution provides that the state shall protect and promote of all citizens to quality education at all levels and shall take appropriate steps to make such education accessible to all. So, ito yung karapatan nating makapag-aral kahit na tayo ay nasa estado ng mataas o nasa estado ng mababa ng ating lipunan. Next one is the Section 2. The state shall, number 1, establish, maintain, and support a complete, adequate, and integrated system of education relevant to the needs of the people and society. So, ang edukasyon daw ay para sa pangangailangan ng tao at ng society. Number 2, establish and maintain a system of free public education in the elementary and high school level. So, ito naman yung pagkakaroon natin ng free tuition fee, lalong-lalo na or ng mga nag-aaral sa public schools. Number 3 is establish and maintain a system of scholarship grants, student loan programs, subsidies, and other incentives. So, ang example nito ay ang mga nakukuha natin every SEM kay Governor Dax Kuwa. Ito ay ang educational assistance. And lastly, the Section 3 Declaration of Basic Policy. It is the policy of the state to establish and maintain a complete, adequate, and integrated system of education relevant to the goals of national development. Toward this end, the government shall ensure, within the context of a free and democratic system, maximum contribution of the educational system to the attainment of the following national developmental goals. Number 1 goal is to achieve and maintain an accelerating rate of economic development and social progress. Number 2, to ensure the maximum participation of all the people in the attainment and enjoyment of the benefits of such growth. And number 3, to achieve and strengthen national unity and consciousness and preserve, develop, and promote desirable cultural, moral, and spiritual values in a challenging world. So that's all for today. Thank you for listening and goodbye.